Hip hip hooray. We're going to be attacking the ACT reading section. What do I do if I'm preparing at the last minute for the ACT reading section? All right, let's go on this roller coaster ride. Remember, we're going to relieve yourselves of all that stress that you might be feeling in your shoulders the night before the test, or maybe you're waiting to take the test next week, but you're a little lazy because we all can be lazy sometimes, but you got to do something about it. All right, let's take a look at the previous video where we talked about our cheating, legalized cheating on test day. Well, basically, it's not really cheating. We're going to be using a strategy that you'll employ so that you can feel much more comfortable getting the test score that you need to receive. Now, in a previous video, we talked about the reading section of the exam and how one passage is not going to be scored, but we have no idea which passage that might be. And it happens to be this guy right here. Hold on one second. I don't want to fill that. Prose fiction. Now, this practice test I had taken, you're going to see the type of passage it was. Yeah, I hated that they used that as the dummy passage that's not going to be scored because it was a nice passage. I really enjoyed it. But you know what? While I was doing it, I found that it was pretty easy. That's probably why I really liked it. But let's go into business. The required scores that you need in the state of Florida for Bright Futures to get 100% tuition and fees paid is a score of a 29, which means you should be answering 23 of these questions correctly. To get 75% Bright Futures, you have to answer 20 of these questions correctly. Now, how many total questions do we have? We have 36 questions, of which 9 will not be scored. So that's 75% Bright Futures, 20 out of 27 questions, or 23 out of 27 questions to get 100%. For graduation requirements in the state of Florida, in order to get a score of an 18, you need to answer 14 of the 27 scored questions correctly. But my goodness, what do we do on test day? Let's take a looky-loo. Let's go into the actual ACT.org page, and you're going to see on the top of the page that they allow you to take full-length practice tests. But these guys are cheap. They make so much money. They only give us 2 online practice tests. But by the way, you can take it online or you can take it as a paper-based test. It's up to you guys. But when you do sign up for the ACT, let's say you're taking the upcoming test, or you take it as a digital test, please select it as a paper-based test. It's so much easier to see all the questions in front of you. You can flip back and forth through pages. It makes the reading section especially easier. But if you're going to take it digitally, by all means, let's get busy with the digital full-length practice test. When you click on that yellow button, you're going to see this page pop up, and it's kind of clunky. But in the middle of the page, you're going to see where it says practice test 1 time. Below, you see English, mathematics. Let's hit that reading. What would Joe say? You better just burn it down. Burn it down. All right. You have instructions. Timing is not running. I'm going to skip the instructions. I already know my business. The next page. Oh, sneaky. They start with new instructions, but the timer is clicking down. Next. All right. What's the business? I'm looking for the passage that has, what do you call it? Passage A and passage B, dual passages. So I'm taking a look right here. I just pressed the index button. I did it during the English and I did it during the math. Will it help me during the reading section of the exam? I kind of don't like it. I'm going to go back to the regular style questions. Let's take a look. Why? Because I'm looking for the passage that is dual passage. See where it says literary narrative on the right, the left-hand corner? That's not dual passage. You can see where it says passage A, and you'll see later on it says passage B. So I'm going to click next, 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 next. I'm looking. Ooh, this is ugly, but there's no way I would do this one. That looks ugly. But anyhow, literary narrative, still on the same thing. Remember, we have 9 questions per passage. So it's going to take us a few more to get through. Informational passage. We do not see a passage A or passage B, so I'm going to keep on going, looking for passage A, passage B. As soon as I find it, I'm bubbling all those suckers down. There it is. Informational passage number 3. It says passage A by Joseph Slosh. Let's go. That's question number 19. So it says item 19. Now I'll go index. There's my 19. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to answer my dummy answer. What do you guys want it to be? B, C, or D? When I choose a dummy answer today, I typically stick with the same one, whether it's English, math, reading. I'm going to stick with the same answer. I forgot what I chose last. Maybe it was B. You know what? Let's just go with B. I'm going to choose B. Item 20, I'm going with B. Item 21, I'm going with B. Remember, we got 9 of these guys. Item 22, B. Item 23, B. Item 24, B. See where it says passage B on the top left-hand corner where it says item 24? It's still passage A, passage B passages, which are dual passages. And where it says item 25 on the right hand side of the screen, it tells you you're doing comparisons. So, oh, what was my dummy? I think it was B. Next one, question number 26. Boom, it is B because it's still dealing with passage A and passage B. Question number 27, passage A, I'm going with B. Then question number 28, it changes to another passage. So I've already identified the passage that takes the longest to deal with, especially in a digital exam. Those are the dual passages where they have you compare passage A versus passage B. Next thing that I'll do, that took me about a minute to do. The next thing I'm going to do is determine which passage do I want to work on first. This one, which would be the last passage, passage number 4, reads, this passage is from the article, The Rise and Fall of the Living Fossil. It doesn't really call my attention. Let me go. Now you see how on the right-hand side of the screen, I have everything indexed. I can scroll through faster. Let me go to item number 1, which is passage number 1, question number 1. Let's see what that's about. The passage is adapted from the short story Janus by Ann Beattie. Now, it's literary narrative. It's a touchy-feely story. The previous passage that I skipped on, the last one, is a factual passage. I like touchy-feely stories because I can get into those stories. Now, I'm going to go to item number 10 because I know there's 9 questions for the first passage. The second passage is going to begin with question number 10, 10 through 18. Let's go to question 10 and see what's going on here. What is the big idea of this story? Oh, it's informational, which means you can have facts. This passage is from the book, The Botany of Desire, A Plant's Eye View of the World by Michael Pollan. All right, I've already dummy answered in the first minute my dual passage, passage A, passage B. Right after that, so all this is taking place in real time, like 60 seconds. And then what I do after the first 60 seconds, a dummy answering and flagging all of my dual passage questions. I'm going to read the blurbs of the remaining passages and pick on the one I want to work on first. I'd rather work on the first passage. Let's hit it. Now, you're going to read the questions. The questions are going to give you the big idea of the story. From the point of view from which the passage is told is best described as that of a ... Point of view, we can figure it out. We can read it within the first few lines and determine what is going to be the best answer. Now you have to think, do you want to do that right now or do you want to get a better idea of the story? If you feel it's going to be easier for you, then go ahead and do it at that moment. So if you read it, right, the point of view, just read the first paragraph. The bowl was perfect. Perhaps it was not what you'd select if you faced a shelf of bowls, and not the sort of thing that would inevitably attract a lot of attention at the craft fair. Yet it had real presence. It was as predictably admired as a mutt who has no reason to suspect he might be funny. Just such a dog, in fact, was often brought out and in along with the bowl. Andrea was a real estate agent. Pause. That opening paragraph, it could have been first person or third person. We don't know. But as soon as we kicked off the second paragraph, it said Andrea was a real estate agent. And when she thought that some prospective buyers might be dog lovers, she would drop off. So you have 2 answer choices you can kill, A and B. So which answer has to be the best answer? Check D first. Work with your answers from the bottom up. Is it third person narrator, not present in the action, who relates the thoughts and feelings of primarily one character? Or is it C, the third person character present in the action who relates the thoughts and feelings of many characters? I haven't read enough. You see how this is question number 1. They want you to sit on this. It's sucking up your time. But if you read a little bit more, you discover that the best answer is going to be D if you keep on reading. But notice, you don't have to memorize, you don't have to take any notes. But if you have a side piece of scratch paper, you're the type of student, and I've been hearing this a lot lately from students, they read, but they forget what they've read. If you feel like that, remember the 4-step method of the cheat method of reading. That first paragraph, if I read it and I have my side scratch of paper, the bowl is perfect. Perhaps it's not what you'd select if you faced a shelf of bowls, and not the sort of thing that would inevitably attract a lot of attention at a craft fair. Yet it had real presence. It was as predictably admired as a mutt who has no reasons to suspect he might be funny. Just such a dog, in fact, was often brought out and in along with the bowl. What was the first paragraph all about? On a side scratch piece of paper, I write down bowl. Nice, pretty bowl, whatever. That's it. That's the big idea of the first paragraph. Next one, Andrea was a real estate agent, and when she thought that some prospective buyers might be dog lovers, she would drop off her dog at the same time she placed the bowl in the house that was up for sale. She would put a dish of water in the kitchen from Mondo, take a squeaking plastic frog out of her purse and drop it on the floor. He would pounce delightedly, just as he did every day at home, batting around his favorite toy. The bowl usually sat on a coffee table, though recently she had displayed it on top of a pine blanket chest, and on a lacquered table. It was once placed on a cherry table beneath a glorious still life painting where it held its own. What's the big idea in the second paragraph? She places bowl and brings a dog. That's it. Bowl, dog, sometimes to show house. Keep it simple. Now, this is what most students will do. They'll read the story and then go attack question after question after question. I believe it will be better if you did the first 60 seconds, find the dual passage, bubble it straight down with the same answer and have them flagged. Then step two, read the blurbs of each story and determine which passage you're going to work on first. Step three, go to the first question and read that question. The point of view from which the passage is told is best described as that of a. Now I know I have to figure out point of view. Second question, the passage as a whole can best be described as an exploration of the dot, dot, dot. Next, there's nothing I can do. They're not giving me enough information for questions number one and two. Question number three, the passage most strongly suggests that a useful characteristic of the bowl in terms of Andrea, I got to read the rest of it. Andrea's purpose of the object, for the object, is the bowl's blank. I don't have enough. But still, the bowl is a big deal. They're not even talking about the dog that I had read in the first paragraph. Next one. In the highlighted text, Andrea responds to an inquiry about her bowl and explains why her bowl was placed in a client's home with statements that can best be described as long area to read. It's a later question, but I'm still gathering information as I read the questions. I'm putting together like the trailer of a movie. Question number five. In the passage, Andrea is characterized as believing that compared to most tricks used by real estate agents to impress potential buyers, her trick of placing the bowl in the home is different than the others. You guys got that? I'm already getting again the shortcut to the story, which is like the trailer of a movie before you actually pay money to see the movie. Question number six. According to the passage, the random placement of colors in the bowl's glaze creates a surface that dot dot dot. So wherever they describe the bowl, the way the colors are looking in the glaze is a big deal. They're going to be bringing that up. Question number seven. One main point of the highlighted paragraph is that. So we have to read the highlighted area and figure out what is the main point of the highlighted paragraph. That's almost like the main idea. Question number eight. In the passage, the admiration a bull receives is directly compared to the admiration received by dot dot dot. I think we might have that. Take a look at the answer choices. A mutt, a plastic frog, a cherry table, or the aroma of spring. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we read the first couple of paragraphs. We nailed that sucker. We can kill that right now. Do you notice what we're doing? We've cheated going through the questions, determining whether or not we should attack an answer or a question's answer choices, and always attacking from the bottom up. The aroma of spring, the cherry table, the plastic frog. The plastic frog was mentioned when she went to the house with the dog. She dumped the frog on the floor, and the dog started playing around with it just like it did at home. You don't have to memorize this; just a short, quick notes. Wrote down dog, bowl, put down, showing home. Bing. Quick notes. When I wrote that down, it stuck in my head. Question number nine. The passage suggests that one reason prospective homebuyers have difficulty sharing their thoughts about the bowl is that they realize dot dot dot. That's it. Now I got the big picture on the story. It's all about the bowl and showing that house, and there's a big reason for that bowl. Now I can decide which question I want to hit. Remember the one that was highlighted? Yeah, you could probably do that one. Boop. Here. One main point of the highlighted paragraph. Here, you guys read it yourselves. Now, how long would it take you to read the highlighted portion? For me, it takes me about 2 to 3 seconds, or maybe 3 to 4 seconds per line. So I'm not rushing when I'm reading this. If you happen to be the student who's a very slow reader, practice on speeding it up 2 to 3 lines per yeah, 2 to 3 seconds per line. So this we have about 8 lines. So 3 seconds per line. It should take you about 24 to no more than 30 seconds to read and get the main point. You guys try it out. Go ahead, read it on your own. And in your conscience, you'll hear me say, write down a couple of words for quick notes so you don't forget what's going on in there. All right. One main point about the highlighted paragraph is what? Let's read D. Always attack your answers bottom up. Andrea sometimes forgets where in the house she had placed the bowl. Is that the main point of the highlighted area? No, you can kill that answer. That would not work. What about C? Andrea is often asked about the bowl when a client puts in an offer on the house. Mm, no, it that wasn't the big deal of the paragraph. So now you're stuck between A and B. See what we've done? We attacked our answers from the bottom up. If you're stuck between A and B, let's say you're truly stuck. I'm not sure which one it is. Guess and get out. Pick A or B, get out. You can always flag the question, right? You can always flag the question. Let's say we chose B because we're not sure. We flag that question, work on the others. When you work on all the others and you want to come back and check out your flag questions and shake out the truth, now you can. If I read this, once Andrea got a call from a woman who had not put in an offer on the house she had shown her. That bowl, she said, the woman had called, would it be possible to find out where the owners had bought that beautiful bowl? Andrea pretended that she did not know what the woman was referring to. A bowl somewhere in the house? Oh no, on a table under the window. Oh, yeah, she would ask. Of course. She let a couple of days pass, then called back to say that the bowl had been a present and the people did not know where it had been purchased. Whoa. Wait a minute. She brought that bowl from her house and brought it into the house to show the house. Man, she is trivial. Mean woman, and even lied. Is B the best answer? Andrea's bowl does not actually belong to her, but she hopes to find its owner. No, change your answer. More than likely, it's A. Andrea's bowl sometimes attracts more interest than does the house itself. For show. You're in and out the door. All right, guys, that's your business for reading. You do the same thing to the next passage and do the same thing to the next passage. After you've done the three remaining passages, then you can go back to the passage, which was the dual passage. Remember the ones that we had flagged? With time left over, do the easiest of the questions, change your answers, and that's how you boost your reading ACT score. And thankfully, the ACT is easier than this one. Yeah, I prefer the SATs reading section than the ACT, but they're both beatable. You just have to practice a little bit differently for the ACT. If you have any questions, you can contact me at 786-877-7231. And boom, let me show you the number just in case you forget. Whoop, 786-877-7231. If you need access to the documents that show your cheat sheets on what to do per section of the exam, I'll shoot it over to you. Until then, take care, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out.